Hey guys, TheSneakySnake here, brothers in arms, World of Warships, and today's video we're going to take a look at a replay that I had in the Perth, the Tier VI Australian Premium Light Cruiser. I am divisioned up with my friends Sitmaster Rob and Static, and they're playing in the Alba and the Queen Elizabeth respectively, the Tier VI Japanese Heavy Cruiser and British BB, and we're playing some domination here on the map Two Brothers. For my captain skills, I have Priority Target, Expert Marksman, Superintendent, Concealment Expert, and IFHE. And for my equipment, I have Spotting Plane Modification, Engine Modification, Longer Smokescreen Modification, and Steering Gears. So, the Perth here in World of Warships. What do you need to know about this thing? Well, it is one of my favorite premium ships in the game. And the reason why is pretty simple. It's not OP, it's not unfun to play against. It offers a very unique creeping smokescreen style of gameplay to a cruiser, and it has a lot of tools in the bag to be able to have a good impact on the game. And as you see here, we are in Tier 8 matchmaking, so I'm going to have to make effective use of all of the different gadgets that the Perth has to be able to secure a good game for our team and to have a good result as well. And the thing about the Perth, disregarding all the statistics, you can see that you have access to a smokescreen, much like all of the other British light cruisers, but the difference is that the smoke puffs only last for about, I think, 10 seconds. So you can sit in one place and utilize your smokescreen, just like a British light cruiser. However, it's much more advisable to use the creeping smoke tactic, where you're going forward at a quarter speed. And for starters, it makes it a lot more difficult for destroyers to hit you because obviously you're not stationary on your smokescreen, where it makes it very easy to guess where to line up your torpedo drops. Since you're moving, you can basically creep along next to a cap and be completely concealed as long as you're going at a quarter speed and be able to utilize your pretty good rate of fire on your 8 152mm guns and your 8-kilometer torpedoes to be able to deal damage to enemy ships, be they destroyers, cruisers, or battleships. It doesn't really matter. And it offers a very fun and very unique playstyle, and that's really why I like the Perth. And quite honestly, no one's going to sit here and say, oh, the Perth is one of the best Tier 6 cruisers, at least not in my opinion. It's not overpowered, it's not one of the strongest ships, but it is most certainly not one of the weakest. And you're going to see here, throughout the course of this game, just utilizing my smokes and my spotting plane and the hydroacoustic, cycling it through very nicely to be able to have a wonderful game. So, anyway, I just realized I said domination at the beginning of the replay. Pardon me, this is standard battle, of course. So I'm going to go over here to the east along the 9 line, and as soon as I get around the corner of the island, I am going to use my first smoke screen of the game. You can see that I am slowing down, and again, you have to be going at least 1/4 speed or less to be able to stay within your smokescreen. Now you can see my smoke only lasts for 2 minutes, whereas my spotting plane modification makes it go out to almost 4. Now one thing about the Perth, it does have a rather paltry base range, so utilizing the spotting plane is something very important. And if you do have a spotting plane modification laying around and you do have a Perth, absolutely toss it on, because it is definitely an investment that is well worth it. Now you can see here, I'm just peppering the Richelieu. He is backing up, so it's making it very easy for me to land shells on target, even though the shells do have a slow flight speed. And you can see here, with IFHE, the first 3 salvos doing over 7,000 damage, and there we go, another one that's over 3k. And because French battleships have 32mm all over, being able to deal damage to them is pretty easily. Now you can see here, I am utilizing my smokescreen here at the start, just kind of sitting in place, moving backwards and forwards. But now I'm going to drift a little bit forward here, and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. I do manage to get a fire finally on the Richelieu. With IFHE, the base fire chance on this thing is not very good, even if you do run the 2 fire flags on it. But you're going to see right here, about every 10 seconds, you can see I'm creeping forward at a quarter speed. The smoke screen just barely goes out in front of me, enough to where I'm still able to stay concealed right there. There we go. And basically, I'm just following the smoke screen out in front of me. And because I'm in a good position where I'm close enough to the enemy ships where I'm able to deal good damage with the HE, this is a really good tactic, and it's very hard to deal with, because things like the Kutuzov and British light cruisers, as I mentioned earlier, it's a lot easier to blind fire into their smokescreen because, generally speaking, they're stationary. Whereas this thing, it's just not the case. Now, this is going to be the first part where the the cycling of your consumables is very apparent, and it's very important. Like I said, with the smokescreen modification, the smokescreen lasts for up to 2 minutes, whereas the spotting plane lasts for 4. So right now, I do not have access to the smokescreen, but I still have access to the spotting plane. And you can see my range is good enough now. It's 15.4 kilometers with the spotting aircraft going. That's plenty good. But since I don't have the smoke, now I turn into a normal cruiser without the benefit of one. And I need to be careful, and this is where, when your smokescreen is down, when that first one goes away in the Perth, this is where a lot of noob or Perth drivers that, maybe they don't know exactly how to take advantage of it, this is where they die. Because they don't have the advantage of the smokescreen, and they just put themselves in bad positions. Because being able to creep up into close quarters is all nice and dandy, but after that 2 minutes is over with, you got to be thinking to yourself, well, how the heck am I going to get out of dodge? And at least for my position, I'm kiting away, and there's also plenty of friendly ships that are over here as well that could potentially be taking hits from me, or for me, I should say. The Scharnhorst does shoot at me, and you can see even with the HE knocking out modules and stuff, the Perth is very fragile. You only have 27,100 hit points, and unlike British light cruisers, you do not have access to heal on this thing. So taking any little bit of damage is going to be, definitely a bad thing, that's for sure. But now I've put this big island that's just off to my left side in between me and the Scharnhorst, so I'm able to stealth fire over the island, and because the guns have pretty good arcs, this is really not that difficult of shooting. And I'm just farming this poor Scharnhorst right now without too much of an issue. You can see there he's down to 19,000 hit points, getting some more high explosive shot right into the side of that guy, and it's working out pretty okay. And if you've lost track of the damage, it's all of a sudden up to about 54,000, which if I were to die right now, that's a pretty decent number for a Perth, but there is still plenty more that needs to be done here. And the first of which is trying to get the kill secure here on this Scharnhorst. He's at 3,000 hit points, and he continues to burn. I'm looking like I'm going to get the kill secure here, and then my buddy Static manages to take care of that Tier VII premium German battleship, and we pick up, as a team, our second kill of the game, so that's good stuff. So we kill one of the enemy battleships over here. The Leander is down to a low amount of hit points. The couple DDs that are over here have taken a little bit of damage as well, and so far it's kind of been a little bit of a stalemate. We've pushed a little bit over here, but we don't have enough ships or enough collective hit points because there's a couple enemy battleships still alive to be able to keep up the pressure over here. So right now we're just kind of consolidating our position. You can see that there's an enemy New Mexico that's trying to make a bold play right into our base, and hopefully our teammates back there will be able to take care of those guys. So you can see, now that my spotting aircraft is down, I have to wait another 4 minutes for it to come back. At this point, it's 3:15, but it's a 4-minute cooldown. And I only have a range of 12.8 kilometers, so this is the second time when you have to be very mindful about cycling your consumables. I do pop my next smoke screen, so I got it still in, a minute and 42 seconds, but now you're kind of putting yourself into a position where you have to be, very, very close to the enemy ships. And at 10.8 kilometers away, that's even for the mid-tier, or these Tier 8 ships, I should say, that's close range. And a Perth will take lots of damage because it's pretty weak. It actually has a slightly bigger citadel than the Leander, because the Leander only has that one smokestack in the middle, whereas the Perth has 2, so the boiler room is actually a little bit bigger on this thing, and it makes it a lot easier to be able to citadel. You can see here, the Kagero does get detected. I immediately change my focus over there to that guy. Looks like he's getting ready to move forward again. You can see my buddy in the Gneisenau is getting some shots at him as well. So, and, this is one nice thing to have. Yes, British AP does eat into destroyers pretty nicely, but it's also nice to have the high explosive shot, because you can see right there, breaking some AA mounts, breaking the steering on that guy. And that's where the high explosive from cruisers really does a number on those little lullaboats, because you're able to break so many things, torpedo tubes and the like, which is really good. Looks like the Gneisenau, yep, he manages to secure the kill. Still got 38 seconds left on the smoke screen. I was drifting forward a little bit too fast, but then I slowed it down, and once again, I'm just creeping along at 8.4 knots. And, this is a playstyle that, like I said, it's not terribly difficult to do, but if you push forward a little bit too far and your smoke screen is going to run out, then you can get into some really big trouble. And you see here, I only got 17 seconds left until the smoke screen does run out. However, there is a cyclone now, which is actually to my disadvantage, because it kind of gets rid of the, the vision control aspect of the game. So, the Perth has excellent stealth, don't get me wrong, at 8.6 kilometers fully upgraded, but obviously here at 8 kilometers in the cyclone, I am going to be detected. And now I don't have my smoke screen ready until another 2 minutes and 24 seconds. So my spot plane down, my hydro is down, my smoke is down. This is the third example of this is probably the worst situation to be in because you don't have any access to all of your consumables to help you move about the battlefield and deal damage from stealth. So I got to be very, very careful here. And I'm going to move right into my buddy's smoke screen here in the Benson. And hopefully as I go through it, we're going to be able to meet some of the other enemy ships that might be trying to push in here. I'm up to 82,000 points of damage. Which is pretty nice. Again, that's a very good damage number for this ship. It's nice to be able to utilize the torpedoes as well. And, oh boy, hello, Sims. 5.2 kilometers away. Yeah, that's not a good range to be coming across a Perth at. 1,600 damage with 4 penetrations on the first salvo. And then I should be able to take care of business on the second one. Shells going in, and there we go. You can see, however, I don't have the armor to be able to stand up to those 127mm guns. And again, the Perth is extremely brittle. You saw there, I only got hit by that guy. I think like 7 or 8 shells, but I got chunked down about 5,000 hit points, which is just, you know, that's what you got to deal with here with the Perth. I'm also getting pretty ballsy here, to be honest. I'm getting into a fight against this enemy Pensacola. He's at about full health and about 7 kilometers away. But obviously the IFHE is going to allow me to penetrate him wherever the shells hit. And hopefully I'll also be able to utilize the armor-piercing shot. Now, the AP on the Perth, you know, it's really only situational at close ranges, the kind of ranges where, you know, it's kind of difficult to hide inside your smokescreen at. But you know, it can work. And you're going to see here, 6.6 kilometers. He is slightly angled. I did get a fire among the midsection of the ship. And then the next salvo that falls in, there we go. I do get 1 Citadel, 5,200 damage. And that Pensacola is going to have to turn away a little bit. And now this is my advantage because I have a much higher DPM than him. And all of my HE shells are pretty much going to deal damage anywhere that they touch his ship. So that's really good stuff. More shells flying in, a little bit short on that last salvo, but now I'm going to switch back to the armor-piercing shot, and hopefully I'll be able to take care of the kill. He gets chunked down to 1,700 hit points, and then I get another Citadel on that guy to kill that Tier VII American heavy cruiser, at least currently. And now I just crack 100,000 points of damage, and now my buddy Rob and I are going to push in with General Assault in the Benson to try to get at the enemy's base. This game has long since been decided. It is 8 versus 3, so at this point it's just about trying to farm a little bit more damage before the game ends. Other things about the Perth, the AA is atrocious. If a carrier wants to make you dead, the carrier will make you dead. The maneuverability is second to none, really, amongst the Tier 6 cruisers. It turns like a destroyer, and its turning radius is very destroyer-like. It's somewhere in the 600-meter range, on the low 600-meter range, and then the rudder shift is very, very good. So this thing, you know, at least when it does get into close quarters combat, it can turn on a dime if need be. The enemy Leander gets spotted out of the Cyclone at 7.5 kilometers, sending some armor piercing down range. He is angled a little bit, but that's okay as I do find the Citadel on that guy. And now I'm going to cycle my hydroacoustic, or excuse me, my spotting aircraft and my smokescreen to help my buddy Rob stay, you know, concealed here inside of it, which is good. Shooting some armor-piercing shot at the enemy Arizona. Like I said earlier, each smoke cloud only lasts for 10 seconds, so if you do want to trail behind me... Rob. If you do want to trail behind me, you only got 10 seconds before the smoke screen runs out, so you can do some pretty dastardly maneuvers with the ship if you have friends that are able to stay behind you in formation, so to speak. I do pick up the Confederate anyway on the Monarch. You can see there are just so many penetrations with the IFHE shells, and that's really what sets the Perth on another playing field whenever you do get IFHE, because your high explosive salvos, you know, able to damage stuff really nicely, and you do need it. You know, most cruisers these days that are 152, 150, 155 millimeter, you do need IFHE. It's a must. And you know, this is only a 14-point captain that I got on the guy, but do not play this thing until you get IFHE. I really do strongly recommend that. Anyway, 6:25 left in the game. It's 532 to 244. 4 versus 1 now. This Arizona is going to die. It's just a matter of who's going to get the kill. And I'm moving into position right behind my North Carolina buddy. I still got 30 seconds left on the smoke screen, but you can see here how I'm going at full speed. I am not going to be able to get concealed because I'm moving way too fast. Now, something interesting right here. I'm going to get behind the North Carolina, and I do not have priority target on me. However, I'm pretty sure the North Carolina was not the intended target of that Arizona shot, even though my priority target was at 0, and I get chunked down to 987 hit points, which is definitely not good. Yeah, he was definitely aiming at me. I'm just guessing that he wasn't targeting me with his guns for whatever reason. But you can see here now I'm going to slow down a little bit. I only got 3 seconds left, though, until that smoke screen runs out. Like I said, 10 seconds. It's a very short amount of time. So now I'm going to get spotted again. Going to pick up the speed. I do pick up the high caliber. And then we're going to see here if we can get the kill on this guy. However, the North Cal shoots. My shells fall in, deal a little damage. And then he finishes off the game in style. Alrighty guys, taking a look now at the post-battle results. 488,000 credits received and 6,200 total experience earned. This was my first win of the day. I picked up Confederate and high caliber, dealing 134,680 damage off of 285 shell hits. I snagged 3 citadels, set 7 fires, and sank 3 enemy ships. Taking a look at the team score, 2,019 base XP. In a game of standard battle, that is pretty good. And considering I was a Tier 6 ship in Tier 8 matchmaking, Tier 8 heavy matchmaking for that matter, this was definitely a fantastic performance. Taking a look at the detailed report, 88k with the HE, 17k with the AP, and 29,000 damage with the fires that I set. So that's obviously some great stuff right there. If you didn't catch that, I did have a bit of damage to the North Carolina. I accidentally shot when he was a little too close, and I set his superstructure on fire. But yeah, this ship is so much fun to play. Again, one of my low-key favorite premiums in the game. Obviously, it's nothing terrifying to deal with. It's not the hardest premium to play against in the world, that's for sure. But it just offers a very unique playstyle, and I really want them to add more Australian and Commonwealth ships to the game, because this thing is definitely a lot of fun, and hopefully they can figure out some other unique premiums for those guys as well. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is the Sneaky Snake for BIA World of Warships signing off. Please consider giving the video a like, commenting on it, possibly subscribing to the channel, and most importantly, sharing it with your friends. All of it is very much appreciated, and have a great day.